It is known as the roof of the world. High in the Tibetan mountains, on the southwest borders of China, lies the source of several great Asian rivers, including the Yangtze and Mekong. The upper region of the Mekong River is known locally as the Lansang River. For generations, Tibetan tribes have survived by working the salt wells on its riverbank. It is from these wells that this small Tibetan village has drawn its name, Yanjing, meaning salt wells. For over 1,000 years, these villagers have lived a primitive and simple life, almost completely cut off from the outside world. Until recently, the only access to this village was by pack animal. Geographically isolated, a unique culture and tradition has survived in Yanjing, exceptional to Buddhist Tibet. Buddhism is the lifeblood of Tibet, with all elements of political, cultural, and social life flowing from it. Monastic life is prevalent, and families still send at least one son at a young age to become a monk. A life dedicated to mental and spiritual development through intense meditation, chants, and sacred texts in the hopes of reincarnation to a higher spiritual and physical level.
I live in a village nearby. A member of my family is ill and can't get cured. He is a Buddhist. We have come here today to light 1,000 butter lamps and pray. We believe that it will help him to recover.
In stark contrast to the overwhelmingly Buddhist Tibet, the Yanjing population is Catholic. The first Catholic mission was built around 150 years ago by French missionaries, intended as a bridgehead for deeper evangelization into China. Of the original descendants, only a few survive.
My name is Anne. I'm 78. My grandmother and my parents were Catholic, so am I. I began school at 14. It's a school run by sisters. I studied there for a period of time, but soon I left because I fell sick. I stayed at home, worshipping God there. Although I was always weak in my constitution, there was nothing weak in my decision to be a religious sister all my life. I wish everyone to live a happy life, to enjoy a life of ample clothing and sufficient food. This is the purpose of my belief.
With the growth of the Catholic community, European missionaries built the first Catholic church in Yanjing in 1860. Today it is the only Catholic church in Tibet, and for over 90 years has been a sacred place for the Tibetan Yerkalo tribe. Although originally suspicious, the Tibetans slowly came to accept these foreigners with their pale faces and strange customs.
I saw the foreign priests building new houses for the poor and giving clothes and food to them. They look after them and unite everyone. Foreign priests have done no evil and killed no one.
With the communist takeover of China in 1949, the only remaining Chinese Catholic priest, Father Du, was killed. Soon after, all foreign missionaries were expelled. The Catholic Church in Yanjing, as throughout China, was to suffer grievous persecution. In 1980, the Chinese government established an open policy which relaxed some restrictions on religious practice. In the Yanjing region, both Buddhism and Catholicism revived. It was only in 1997, however, that Father Di, a Yanjing-born priest, having completed his studies at the Beijing seminary, returned home to assume the responsibilities of a parish priest.
My name is Lu Rendi. I'm 30 years old. I was appointed as the Catholic priest in Yanjing 4 years ago. My family has been a family of believers for generations. My mother was a pious believer. Her behavior and good conduct strongly influenced my brothers, sisters, and I. Besides, my grandfather was an assistant to the priest. Actually, he looked after this same church. So I wanted to be a priest already when I was a mere child, a pupil in primary school.
There are now more than 1,000 inhabitants divided between the approximately 120 households that make up Yanjing. The once predominantly Catholic village, however, is increasingly Buddhist. 1/3 of the villagers, either through immigration or conversion, are now Buddhist. Buddhist homes are identifiable by the prayer flags that hang from the rooftops, mantras blown heavenward as offerings to the deities. Today, a certain ambivalence towards religious identification prevails.
I'm Seni. I am 79 years old. I'm a Buddhist from childhood. My husband was a Catholic believer from childhood. He died at the beginning of this year, when he was 84. I will remember him as long as I live. 7 members of the family living with me are Buddhist. Others are out in public employment. I don't know what they believe. I'm well fed and well clothed. I owe my happy life to the Communist Party and Chairman Mao. I'm very happy. I can't see any difference between Buddhism and Roman Catholicism. They are both good. I still keep all things left behind by my husband as a Catholic believer. Some people wanted to take these things away, but I refused.
I am new. I am 65 years old. I have 7 sons and daughters. I live with my eldest son and his wife. I'm a Buddhist, while my sons and daughters believe in the Roman Catholic faith. My wife, Ma Ren, passed away in 1973. Our children and I were left behind. She was a Roman Catholic. She recited the Holy Scriptures even during the Cultural Revolution. I was formerly a Lama. That's why I'm a Buddhist.
I'm Anyu's daughter-in-law. I'm 41. I'm a believer in the Catholic faith since my childhood. I stayed as a Catholic after I married into this family. My father-in-law once said to me, "You may believe in what you like." Therefore, I have been a Catholic all along. Anyu never asked us to believe in Buddhism.
The Catholic faithful in Yanjing are identified by their Christian rather than their Tibetan names. Anyu's family is a mix of Buddhist and Catholic. His youngest daughter is called Joanne, his eldest granddaughter is Madeline, while the youngest granddaughter has a Tibetan name, Lu Sang. Every day, Anyu takes his two granddaughters, Lucy, who's Catholic, and Lu Sang, who is a Buddhist, to school. For Lu Sang, this is her first semester at school. She will learn Chinese, Tibetan, study arithmetic and receive physical education. Lu Sang's eldest sister Madeline is not so fortunate. Where a family lives in poverty, traditionally the eldest daughter must carry out the household duties and farm work, leaving no spare time for learning. Today, relations between Buddhists and Catholics in Yanjing are peaceful. The realities of life and nature require constant cooperation. During the rainy season, mud and sand block the irrigation channel on the hillside. Buddhist and Catholic villagers unite to repair and construct new irrigation systems. Peaceful coexistence, however, was not always so. Between 1904 and 1949, a series of interreligious clashes broke out where many Catholics were killed for their religious beliefs. Notably, in neighbouring Batong, Catholics also suffered persecution from Buddhists, forcing many to flee to Yanjing. Perhaps the most famous victim was Father Maurice Tourné, a Swiss missionary who built up a Catholic monastery in the northwest of Yunnan and trained a number of new clergymen. Yuan was one of his first students.
Father Tawney was sent to Yanjing, but the Buddhist monastery in Upper Yanjing declared that the Buddhist Ganda monastery was officially appointed by the Tibetan government to manage the whole district of Upper Yanjing. So there was no place for Catholics. Catholic residents in Upper Yanjing had to change their names to Buddhist ones. Father Tawney decided to go to Lhasa to bring a complaint against the Ganda monastery. Unfortunately, Father Tawney was murdered on the way to Shul Mountain. The murderers had been sent from the Ganda monastery. When I came back to Yanjing, the Ganda monastery offered me an apology for their historical wrongdoing. I too apologized to them. I don't know what they think, but on the face of it, I accepted their apology and they accepted mine.
Yuan did not become a priest, marrying soon after his return to Yanjing. He has nonetheless kept his faith and prayed every day since then. Now he is too frail to go to daily mass, however he insists on going to church at least twice a week. The grape harvest comes every August and September. This tradition remains from the days of the French missionaries who first introduced winemaking to the area. Passed down through the generations, most families in the upper Yanjing region still maintain a small vineyard. Every season, Sister Anne comes specially to give a hand in making the church wine, which is well known throughout the area, principally used for Holy Communion. It is also served to visiting guests. Although the winemaking tradition has survived, other vestiges of France's cultural heritage introduced by the missionaries have been lost to history. The Chinese Communist Party converted the Catholic Church into a school. Almost all religious objects, including scriptures, were destroyed. A few of the poetic works, translated by the missionaries from Latin into Tibetan, survived only because a handful of Catholics hid them underground in breach of the ban. They have only recently been unearthed. With the lifting of religious restrictions, the local government returned what were by then ruins of the church back to the Yanjing Catholics. Thanks to the support of Catholics from around the world, through charities like Aid to the Church in Need, the local population can once again gather in their own church. With reconstruction complete, Father Lu now works to rebuild the knowledge and tradition of the local Catholic faithful. With a small number of devoted followers, he gives catechetical and practical training to meet local spiritual needs. Today they prepare the dough needed for the hosts. Since the original host-making tools were destroyed during the communist persecution, they must rely on makeshift utensils. As parish priest, Father Lu is also called to participate in district affairs. He leaves for the regional capital 300 kilometers away. On his way, he takes time to visit and pray with a 90-year-old parishioner. She's the oldest Catholic in the village. He promises to come back on Sunday to celebrate Mass. For the duration of Father Lu's absence, Sister Teresa leads the local community in their daily prayers. Afterwards, there is always time for the small community to meet, reflect, and also to share a glass of wine from the most recent harvest. Life is unhurried. The corn harvest is yet to come. In the meanwhile, many villagers head for the riverbank to supplement their income by working the salt pans. Working the salt for the Catholic villagers has a deeper meaning. Throughout the decades of persecution, they have proven themselves to be the salt of the earth. With no other guide other than the words of the Holy Scriptures and no other sign than the ruins of a desecrated church, they have prevailed to see the rebirth of their faith. Father Lou returns to his parish church as promised, faithful to his small flock gathered here, high in the Tibetan mountains.